It is funny to definitely see, I would say, a community that maybe hasn't had all the different food options down here in the past is starting to have them. And yes, it is pretty cool to see people that maybe have never eaten cow soy or some poke or some random dish to be able to actually have that to try. And it's pretty cool when they come back and they tell their friends about it. So the question was, what do outsiders think, or people for particular Newport Beach think, for example, of this place and this area? And obviously in the past there's been a lot of negative stereotypes or connotations or impression of what this is and what it's about. And my first question to a lot of people when they come down here is, how many people have been down here if you haven't been for jury, other than for jury duty? And sure enough, over the years that number the hands have come down and down, because what's happening is the word is getting out. People that live in Newport Beach, I live in Newport Beach, everything closes at 10 p.m., if not sooner. There's not a lot of independent restaurants, a lot of them are chains, and so people are looking for something different. They're looking for culture, and I think in Orange County specifically, there's not a lot of character and culture. Everything's kind of mass-produced. It's very homogenized, and so I think that Santa Ana, especially downtown, really offers something unique and different with the architecture and the culture and the history, and just really being a real urban center. And so I think, frankly, from a safety and security standpoint, we've made a huge effort to improve the security down here with additional police staffing, private security that works till 3 in the morning. So we're actually in the process of implementing a new security program with security cameras and really working closely with the city to do that. But even that all being said, I feel very comfortable walking down here at night, and it's a very safe place. Now, would I go 2 miles that way at 3 in the morning by myself? Probably not, but I would say that for most neighborhoods anywhere in the country. So I think if you're pragmatic and you're smart, you should be fine. And again, I think also what comes with success of having all this activity on the ground is the more people down here, the more safe you feel, because there's more people and more things going on. So, again, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, when there was one bar here and one bar there, okay, you got to walk 4 blocks between the two. It's a little different. But today, there's a bar every half a block or a restaurant open till 2 in the morning. There's people on the ground, there's eyes on the street. So it's a much different dynamic, and I think, again, with the activity, people feel a lot more comfortable, and frankly, I think it is a lot more comfortable. I think a lot of this is a connotation that's been around for a long time, but frankly probably isn't very accurate anymore. The local community has definitely been a challenge, especially from the beginning. I would say that in the last few years, we've definitely gained some traction, and I think, the reality is at the end of the day, you're not going to please everybody, but I think we've definitely got a lot more of the moderate community, if you will, to get involved and be a part of this. I've really tried to make this community-centric place. We really want to try to make it welcoming to all. The reality is not everyone's ever going to feel welcome, but we're making that effort to do so. I think part of it too is just collaborating with the community, getting their input and their feedback, and trying to work with them as best we can. Part of the reason that I made the price points what they are in the facility, or dictated to my tenants, they need to have what I call a low to mid-tier price point, was because I wanted the local community to be able to shop here and eat here. A lot of the restaurants that have come in the downtown in the last 5 years, for the most part, are higher price points. And that's great for some people, but even myself, who I think does pretty well, doesn't need to eat at a $100 a person meal every night. The average price point here is probably in the $8 to $12 range, and I think that's pretty affordable for the average person. The reality is not everyone can afford that, but the average person probably can. And so I really wanted my tenants to be able to have a price point that, again, was more welcoming to all and more approachable to all. And even offering some stuff on the menu that maybe even a little cheaper than that, so at least someone could get something if they wanted to, and or maybe have some place that you could share amongst the family as well. Positives that come. One of the positives I also feel is that currently in Santa Ana, if you're successful, for the most part, you leave. I consider it the brain drain. And I think with the continuation of what's happening downtown and the continuum of investment and job opportunities and business opportunities and tax-based generation, everything else that's happening down here, I truly believe that over a generation, this downtown and this city can change, because now people that were leaving are starting to reinvest in the city. They're starting to open businesses in the city. They're starting to live in the city rather than leave. And so I think over time, again, there's going to be huge benefits that come with that. What that looks like now and what it looks like 10 years from now, I don't know. And again, how do you even anecdotally put that into a statistic? I don't really know the answer to that, but I do know that we're getting traction from that end. I do see a lot of positive feedback from a lot of local institutions and local schools. And again, we're trying to work with them to how to better improve their ability to work in the downtown, have opportunities in the downtown, have jobs in the downtown. I spoke at elementary school middle school actually a few months ago, and they were thrilled about all the opportunities coming down here, because now their kids can intern at one of these restaurants, or band can play at one of these shops, or one of their kids can do work with a creative agency on marketing. So again, these are opportunities that probably weren't here in the past. So I think, again, that's the positive of what's happening down here, and I think that's a great thing. So.